Hi everybody, this is the host, aka Host 1.
And the co-host, aka Host 2 here. Just a few quick words before we jump into the episode.
If you're a new listener, here's how the show works. We typically will spend about 5% of the episode at the beginning and the end talking about a motivational related topic, and then the other 95% of the episode is a ton of comedy in between.
We'd appreciate it if you could please like, subscribe, and share the show with other people. Feel free to leave us a comment wherever you're listening or send an email to facetodaypodcast@gmail.com.
Now, back to the episode. And we're back. We're back once again. Co-host 1.
This is co-host 2.
Or is it host 1?
And host 2.
We would love our listeners to tell us what they prefer between host and the co-host.
Yes, let us know. We want to know your thoughts.
This is episode 9 of Face the Day, and we would like to tell you that the title of this episode is called Don't Forget the Wins.
Don't forget them. Don't ever forget them.
Don't forget the wins. And just to give you a quick rundown on why we chose to name this episode, Don't Forget the Wins. This is a motivational podcast. It has jokes. Yes, we talk about various topics, but we like to motivate our listeners, and we like to keep you not only engaged, but engaged in your own lives towards your own progress and accomplishing just wins. But anyways, don't forget the wins. Do you want to touch on it all, co-host?
Yeah.
Before I go on it? Or would you like me to elaborate?
This is a Face the Day podcast, and
Yes.
we've had many positive quotes, and our episodes are kind of based on them, and then we talk about funny stuff, and then we come back to the motivation. But each of us has wins in our lives, and it's easy just to move on to the next thing, but you got to remember, you got to hold on to those wins and take what you can. And feel free to elaborate more, because this was your idea, Host 1.
I think it's more so that it's very easy to get down on yourself, and it's very easy to, you're having success, things are going well, then boom, one bad thing happens, and you start getting down, and you're like negative, and you're like, well, why isn't this working? Why isn't that? But like, keep track of your progress, keep track of your wins, keep track of your success, because that can give you confidence towards continuing on, towards achieving things that you want to achieve. It's just, the purpose is just to, this can apply to like different types of therapy. This can apply to different types of just anything motivational workings in your life. But like, it is so easy to forget your accomplishments, and it's so easy to forget your wins. And you need to keep track of that.
Yes.
Write it down if you have to.
Write it down.
Just think about it and glue it into your brain. But like, that can give you confidence to just be a better person. And it sounds a little corny saying this right now, but it's actually very true. I think if you're listening to this, I think you understand what we're trying to say.
Absolutely. And there is a phrase, something along the lines of what you don't track doesn't get, measured or doesn't progress. And I think that's along the lines of what you're saying. You got to track it. You got to remember it. Count those W's.
Count the W's. Co-host 2, and then we're just going to jump right into the show. We were actually talking about our last episode. We went a little bit long in the beginning talking about the concept of the episode title, and we do think it's important, but we're just going to jump into the show now because we don't want to bore our listeners.
Yep.
We love our listeners.
We really do.
Absolutely love our listeners, from India to Jamaica to Puerto Rico to Mozambique to Canada to Sri Lanka to Mongolia.
Oh my God.
To Papua New Guinea.
Oh, all over
the world. It reminds me of that Lil Wayne song, Pimpin' All Over the World.
Yes. Lay it down.
Co-host, I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
What the hell are horns in cars?
Oh, what is a horn?
We don't even think twice about it, but we press them and they make a loud sound. Where is it coming from? And what is the horn?
What is the horn?
No one thinks about this.
Yeah, it's just there. It's just
it's so second nature to while you're driving and you're frustrated, you're trying to get somewhere. It's like, what is this horn?
We'd have to ask a car guy. We got to get a car guy.
Do we need to sound a car engineer on the show?
We need an engineer, yes. And one thing I will say, that a couple of days ago, my car was a little bit frozen, and I wanted to honk, but my horn was frozen, so I couldn't get the honk out, and I was very frustrated.
Wait, the honk on your horn wasn't working?
Yes, if it's too cold out, your horn will freeze.
I believe you might have a possible lawsuit that you could file on your hands.
I could, yes. Class action.
What if you got into a crash because of that.
Because the horn didn't sound.
There has to be something in the fine lines. These cars have do they have the fine lines?
The fine lines.
They have
Read those
lawyers, many lawyers.
Yes. Let's get them going. Let's get into it with them and sue them.
Not gonna talk about what religion they might be, but a lot of
no religion.
a lot of lawyers, a lot of lawyers on hand, ready. They're crafting of the fine lines.
Oh, the fine line. Read those
if
fine
your
lines.
If your horn doesn't work in the winter of this day and age, you cannot sue this for this.
There probably is. They probably have liability protection.
Yeah.
Hate to see it.
Hate to see it. And that leads me to my next question. You rarely ever see midgets.
Oh, midgets.
You don't ever see midgets.
Yes.
Why?
I never see them.
But there's so many of them.
Where are they?
There has to be so many of them.
The midgets.
There's not like 2 midgets in the city.
So
we live in a big city. It's not even like, it doesn't matter where you are. Like, there's always like random movies where there's like a midget like in the star.
And I've never seen one.
Yeah, but you can never, like, you ask the average person, they don't know where the midgets are.
Yes. Well, are they called midgets or little people?
I don't know. And just to resurface here, and not to get like too woke on our listeners, but like we have no problem with midgets. I would, I can't say I really have many friends or associates that happen to be like that, but I would love to.
Yeah, if they were, that would be cool.
I'd be happy to have, but it's just, I'm just more so curious.
Yes,
I'm curious why we don't see more midgets.
Yes, where are they? Well, again, some people call them dwarfs or munchkins, but no, that's from a movie. Sorry, that's Wizard of Oz. But you know what? You never see them. You never see them. Maybe they all live in some type of community away from everybody.
Right. Are they? Because they're not considered like handicapped, are they?
Oh,
because there's one thing. It's there's like a school for the deaf. There's a school for the blind.
Yes.
And they'll go to these schools, and it makes kind of sense. But you don't see them as often because they're kind of like there at the schools, and but the midgets, they don't apply to that.
Where are the midgets?
Yeah, but that leads me to my next question. Do people appreciate? Do you think people appreciate Ralph Fiennes enough?
Oh,
Ralph Fiennes.
Fiennes.
Another question: I have no idea how to say this guy's name.
Fiennes.
Yeah, he's that British actor, and he's been in numerous.
Oh, well, first thing that comes to my mind is he was in Harry Potter.
He was in Harry Potter. He was in Schindler's List.
Oh yes.
He was in Red Dragon, the sequel to
yes.
Hannibal.
Yes. He was in James Bond for a little bit.
He was in James Bond. He was in The Menu on HBO.
Oh my God.
HBO Max.
The Kingsman?
God forbid. Oh. HBO Max.
HBO Max.
HBO Max.
He's a very talented actor, no doubt.
He's a very talented actor. The reason I ask you this question is because I do not think people appreciate him enough. Yes. I think he's a brilliant actor.
Brilliant. He is phenomenal.
I think he is just smooth and calm, and he's got this very dark, mysterious, villainous vibe to him, and that's probably why he plays a lot of characters like that. But
yes,
he is just brilliant.
And obviously, he who may not be named Voldemort.
Ralph Fiennes. Fiennes or Fiennes?
Finest.
No one knows how to say this guy's last name.
Not know.
You'll never ever ask the person how to say his last name and have him say it correctly.
Yes. So as you know, Dame Judi Dench was in James Bond. She was M, who was right. James Bond's boss. And in one of the more recent episodes, she dies, and Ralph Fiennes takes over for Judi Dench as
he was in James Bond too?
Only like one or two of the most recent Daniel Craig movies, but Ralph Fiennes is in it. Yes, he takes over.
This guy is probably sitting on over $200 million.
Oh yes.
He's been in many big budget films. This guy he's a genius.
He's a genius. Has he won an Oscar? Has he been nominated for an Oscar?
We need to look this up.
We need to look it up right now.
I don't want to copy the Michael Rappaport podcast, but I will say that on this podcast we don't fact check.
We don't.
No, we don't fact check, but we probably should.
It's off the cuff. It's off the cuff.
And I know that he says that on his podcast, which is why I brought that up, because they pride themselves on not fact checking. But we also don't fact check here, and we probably should.
We should, but we won't. And, we're cooler and I think more legit than Michael Rappaport, even though he's more famous right now. We do our own thing.
All right, co-host, I don't care. I have a question. I have a question for you.
Okay.
Why does no one use semicolons in text messages anymore?
Semicolon.
Do you think people used to use them? and it faded away, or is just they're just not a thing in text messages?
What was the other one? The two things? Colon?
Semicolon.
What? How do you even? How are you supposed to use
a semicolon? Is this? It's a dot with a little comma on the bottom.
Yeah. When do you use it?
I don't know.
Some people know the answer. You have to be a grammar Nazi.
The problem, co-host, is that no one knows what the fuck the semicolon is.
It is because it's a comma plus a colon.
It's almost like we use the semicolon to seem smarter,
yes,
or to like seem like we know what's going on. But there's very few people outside of English majors that know what the fuck the semicolon is. Yeah. And we try to put them. You know, I'm guilty of this. I'll be messing with someone. I'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna put a little semicolon, and you know they'll think I'm smarter.
Yes.
But when I do it, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing it for.
Well, at least you try to do it. That's all that matters. The attempt.
It's the effort that counts.
The effort.
Yeah.
Because I have no idea.
Because it's you can't put too many commas.
Too many, yeah.
You can't keep putting commas.
People get comma crazy.
Yeah. But people also get. We've talked about this many times. Exclamation mark crazy.
Oh, the exclamation mark.
You can't keep putting exclamation marks.
Too many, yeah.
Because people are going to think you're too excited.
Too excited. Just so excited.
But we're not that excited.
We're not. We're definitely not.
We're not that excited.
Me and you use it ironically.
No one's that excited all the time.
Or sarcastically, yeah.
Yeah.
If you put 5 of them, I like to do a space, then a bunch of exclamation marks, because then it's like, okay, is this guy trolling?
Yeah.
Or something.
But like, the exclamation mark is better than a period, I guess.
Is it?
I don't actually use periods anymore.
Yeah, who does?
Anyhow, the semicolon, you know, that's a topic for another day, but I think it's interesting that it's not really talked about anymore and people don't really use it.
Yeah. And we would love for our listeners to write in and explain when we should use, because we don't fact check and we never will.
I don't know if we never will, but at this point we never will, because quite frankly, simply put,
quite frankly.
To be honest, why do people say that? Quite frankly, simply put. But we don't have the production crew to make that happen yet. We can do research on our own. But anyways, we're gonna dive into the next topic here. Co-host 2, what is your opinion on woo girls?
Woo girls?
Do you know what the woo girl is?
I don't. I'm not.
You don't know what the woo girl is? I'm surprised to hear that.
You stumped me.
Interesting.
The woo girls?
The woo girl. So it's like a kind of a phenomenon, and it's like it's a very, might be like a trendy saying, but the woo girl are girls that kind of like go out to bachelorette parties. They go on like, you know, girls vacation, and there's a bunch of girls together, and they're all like in picture going like woo. Oh. Or they're just like woo. You know, they're like on the little like party buses. They're like woo.
Okay.
It's like a woo girl.
Yeah.
You know, like they're just living free. They're having a blast. Like, you know, no worries.
Sounds a little cringy.
Like me and my girls, like woo.
Yeah.
You never heard of the woo girl?
I've never heard of. Maybe now it makes a little sense, but
do you have any opinions on it?
It seems strange. Why are they so happy and wooing all the time? You tell me. You're the expert here.
Well, I think it's just it's carefree. It's very like you have your crew of girls and there's no guys involved. It's like we're bad bitches. We're on our own.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we're bosses now. Like woo. That would be my guess.
Yeah, it probably is. Seems a little forced. Wrong. It seems a little forced. It seems a little over the top. And I would want to kind of push some of those girls and not, you know,
these girls get together for bachelorette parties and
they need some guys around to like keep them in check a little bit.
Yeah, but they get on their own and they turn into woo girls.
Yeah, woo, like life's so great. I'm with a bunch of girls just drinking my ass off. Like,
right.
It's fake.
Right. We'll make TikTok videos. We'll talk about all the problems with guys, and then we'll bitch about why we don't have any men in our lives.
Yeah, and then we'll throw our hands up like we're having the best time of our lives, even though we're not.
Yeah. That leads to my next question: why do birds and homeless people? Why do they stay in cold places during the winter?
Oh, well.
Why don't they go somewhere warm?
Why don't they just travel? Take a bus.
But birds can't take a bus.
Well, I feel like most.
But birds can fly. Why are there birds?
Listen.
They can fly wherever. This could be an entire episode.
This could be the birds.
What the fuck is wrong with the bird?
The birds and the bee, or just the birds?
I've honestly thought about this my entire life, and I'm not just making that. Like, I swear, I've been thinking about this for a long time.
Yes.
I read the question, and it made me like holy shit, I've been thinking about this forever. why the fuck do birds stay in cold places during the winter? Don't tell me it's about their makeup. Don't tell me it's about their like heritage.
No.
The bird wants to be warm, but they stay in the cold.
Yes, they stay in the cold. So
I don't have any bags to pack.
Why?
Pick up and leave.
Pick up and leave. Just fly. Just fly.
All right, go take it away.
All I'll say, co-host, is that I think a lot of birds do go south to warmer climates. But today I did see some geese. It's here where we are in the middle of winter, and it's absolutely freezing. And I did see some geese by the pond. And I was wondering, why are the geese still here? It's the middle of winter.
Well, the geese are a bit on the heavier side, so maybe traveling that far of distance might be taxing on their body.
Ah, yes. And these are heavy geese. You're right. These are heavy geese.
They don't have to pay for gas.
Thank God.
But they have to fly. They have to exert energy.
They do.
They might just be lazy. You ever thought about that? Wow, that could be it. They don't.
I think
they're too lazy to fly.
Or they're also super alpha and heavy, and they have enough body fat to withstand the cold. So they're like the alphas end up staying because they don't really need to fly because they've already eaten all the food and kind of pushed out the other geese and birds.
That is a great point.
Maybe I'm guessing, but thank you.
Okay, the other side of it, homeless people. I don't mean to say like the term homeless, but you know, people that don't have a warm place during the winter. You're going to tell me that you can't figure out how to get enough money for a bus ticket or hitchhike in some aspect to go somewhere south or warm or west or wherever that may be. Why are you staying in a freezing place for half the year when you have the ability? Like, I'm not saying to walk. Obviously, that's cruel and that's not realistic. But there has to be a way you can figure out how to get a bus ticket. There has to be a way you can figure out how to hitch a ride somehow.
Absolutely. I don't understand. Maybe what is holding them back?
Clearly have no, like, I hate to say it, but if you're homeless and living on the streets, you probably don't have many responsibilities.
Nope.
So you have nothing tying you down to being here.
I don't know.
Just go.
Yeah.
Be somewhere warm, man.
Go somewhere warm. Go lay on a beach somewhere. Or like a real beach, not a,
kind of jealous.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't be jealous of the homeless.
I know.
But I get your point.
It's a joke.
Why don't they just, they would be happier if they could find a warmer place to go rather than sub-zero temperature that we are currently in.
Yes. And that is a perfect segue into our next question, co-host. Do you know why?
Nope.
I am so fucking sick of people being obsessed with Jennifer Coolidge.
Oh, me too.
What are your opinions
on
people being so obsessed with Jennifer Coolidge?
Jennifer.
It seems so trendy, and it is just so trendy these days. I find it to be so forced.
It's so forced.
I find her to be extreme. I thought she was decent in the American Pie movies as Stifler's mom.
Stifler's mom, yep.
I don't think she's been good in anything else since then. She's in the whole White Lotus.
That's the thing. That's what got her going.
She was in this recent Jennifer Lopez movie.
Oh,
and
yes.
everything she's in, she's the same squinty eyes, I don't know what's going on. I'm just kind of overweight, but I'm like make a little smirk, and I'm gonna stay a little line.
Yeah. Oh,
what do you think?
Is that a hot dog on the 4th of July?
Oh, that's a good impression there.
Well, that's she was good in Legally Blonde too. But other than that, I agree.
She was Legally Blonde.
Yeah, she's overrated.
And is she having a comeback now, or is it too much?
It's too much. It's all It doesn't seem real. Yeah. Why is it's like everybody's like, oh, everybody else.
She might just have a really good agent and a really good manager
and a good publicist. Yes.
It's all about who you know and who you work with.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going.
So true. No, I think.
Do you have anything else to say about that?
Well, I just think it seems manufactured. It seems she probably does have good people working for her. And Jennifer Coolidge, hey, how are you guys? That's just how she talks, and it's like so fucking annoying.
Great impression.
Yeah.
Are you good at impressions?
I'm decent at impressions. This girl,
wow, we might need to have a whole episode dedicated to that in the future.
Impression. I do the voice. I used to do a lot more voices, and then the voices.
That's true.
The voices have come and gone over the years, but anyway,
we need video footage in this podcast.
One day we might get a stream going.
Literally, it's called Face the Day.
Yeah,
and no one can face us.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're putting ourselves down. We need to face our listeners.
Face him.
If you're listening to this right now, just know we want to face you, but we don't currently have the capability to face you.
We don't have the face, but we will face you.
We will face you
We want to face you.
once this takes off more.
Yes, and maybe we jump on Twitch or YouTube live stream, and then you will see our face. And
Or
then we
Pornhub.
or Pornhub live stream.
Or Facebook Live.
Oh, yes, there it is.
Yep.
But I digress. We digress. Let's move to the next one.
My next topic, co-host 2, is what do you think about people that are obsessed with dried fruit?
Oh, this is a dried fruit. So
Yes, the dried fruit.
you know what? I just have raw, juicy fruit.
Interesting.
I don't eat a lot
Juicy
of
fruit.
What is? First of all, how do you define a dried fruit? Like an
I
apricot?
literally yes, co-host. Yes, co-host. The
okay.
first thing that came to my mind when I said the term dried fruit was the apricot.
The apricot.
And then guess what the second one was?
Ape or app. The second one is a peach.
Tangerine.
Tangerine. I was okay.
Yes.
Interesting. So, what makes it dried? Is it not? Is it not juicy?
I don't know. When I think of dried fruits, I think of Whole Foods circa 2009.
Ooh.
You know,
Okay.
back when no one really was that big of a fan of Whole Foods, but the people that loved the nuts and the dried fruits were big fans of it.
Wow.
Not, that's my.
yes.
No one really talks about dried fruit anymore outside of that their mega fan base. But what are your thoughts on dried fruit?
Well, I think you're right. There's some kind of Whole Foods has some type of tie to the dried fruit. Now that you talk about the nuts and all that, like it's ringing a bell for me.
Yeah.
So I just think is it even healthy to eat?
I don't know. It seems like there's a lot of sugar involved.
Of course, the sugar, that damn
Sugar will get you.
will get you every
Yeah.
time.
You have to cut carbs and sugar. And
Cut carbs and sugar, and
That's
watch,
what I've been told
watch
to lose weight.
Watch miracles happen in your life when you cut. If you can cut carbs and sugar for a couple of days in a row, I'm telling you, you will see miracles.
And you know who needs to cut carbs and sugar? This leads into our next segment.
Huh.
Mike Tirico.
Oh, Mike Tirico in the booth.
Mike fucking Tirico
Oh,
is
no.
too professional.
He's
He
very
needs to
professional.
loosen up a bit.
Yes. Always professional.
Make a few jokes. Be sarcastic. Just chill. He's so professional, and he always acts as if act isn't the right word because that would mean he's like acting.
Wait.
He carries himself. He obviously has to be professional, but this is my opinion. He carries himself in the sense that like he's one word away from like his whole career ending or something.
Yes.
Like he has to be so crystal clean,
Yes,
perfect,
It's kind of annoying.
and non-controversial.
Non-controversial.
That like that's it.
Yes,
There's
that's
no
it.
other Mike Tirico besides that
Yeah.
he can be.
Yes, he'll never break character. I agree.
And
He's always professional.
You know that he has it in him to do that. I actually, this is inside scoop.
Okay.
I know someone who this is like cruel to say because this person I'm referring to is actually currently deceased. Passed away probably like 2 or 3 years ago. But this person was Mike Tirico's roommate at Syracuse in college, and he knew him. And I used to hear stories about Mike Tirico being like kind of like a party guy and like a fun guy.
Oh.
And now I see him on what he's doing, and he's just stone cold professional as Mike
Always.
Tirico.
Oh, yeah, it's very kind of boring, and he just needs to let loose a little bit.
He does.
Wait,
And
let me tell you a quick story about Mike Tirico that I've heard.
I would love to hear a quick story about Mike Tirico that you heard.
Okay, here you go. So one time Mike Tirico I don't remember where I heard this, but he was playing golf with the former president Donald Trump. And yes, Tirico and Trump were playing golf together, and obviously Tirico is very professional, never gets angry, and I guess Tirico hit a great shot in front of Trump, and he kind of made Trump look bad by hitting his ball on the green. Trump went up to Tirico's ball on the green and hit it into the woods. And Tirico didn't say anything because that's the type of guy he is. He never lets loose. He never pushes back. And Trump just hit his ball out into the woods, and they moved on to the next hole.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is this true?
This might be true, to your point. Why don't you Google that story and see what comes up? Because there might be some truth.
Interesting.
Yeah, funny story.
All right. I have a question for you, co-host.
Okay.
Have you noticed that Gwyneth Paltrow is super famous, huge megastar? Everyone just is like, oh, Gwyneth Paltrow. They're like, Gwyneth Paltrow, this, that.
Yeah.
But no one has ever seen her in a movie before,
Oh, yeah.
besides Shallow Hal.
I've never seen her in one movie. What? How is this possible? Has she ever been in any movie ever except Shallow Hal?
She was in one Shakespeare movie too. Like I think it was like Macbeth or Shakespeare in Love.
That doesn't count. Yeah,
it was one of those two, Shakespeare in Love or Macbeth. I know she was in with Jack Black and Shallow Hal, but besides those two movies,
oh my God,
I've never seen her movie. How can someone be that famous? She did date. She was like in relationship with Chris Martin from Coldplay.
Yes,
and she was very famous because of that. But apparently she's this genius actress, but no one has ever seen her in a movie before. And I'm not just making this up. I've asked other people this question, and no one can give me a fucking answer.
Yeah,
no one's.
I've never thought of that.
There's not one person that's like, oh, she's in this and that, and like she's like, she's great in this. Like, no one.
You know a lot of TV series co-hosts.
Yeah.
What has she been in any like Friday Night Lights type
Nothing.
shows? No,
nothing.
Really?
I can't give you one thing I've seen her in besides Shallow Hal.
Wow. I feel like she's the mom. She played the mom in some show or movie, but I can't remember. So anyway, this is a revelation because Gwyneth does not deserve her fame. Then
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Oh, you know what? And obviously she has that show about, it's called Goop. She goes by Goop, and it's like all these like esoteric or very like holistic health, women's health type things.
That's true. And I think she's somehow related to Adam Newman, the founder of WeWork.
That could be true too. Yes.
If you watch the Apple TV show We Crashed, one of the characters is based on Gwyneth Paltrow.
Oh, is that right?
To my understanding, Gwyneth Paltrow's her sister or cousin is married to Adam Newman. I don't know.
Wow, fascinating.
She's whatever.
I gotta watch We Crash though. Yeah. That sounds funny.
All right, this we have to keep up with this. Similar to Mike Tirico somehow. I don't know how they draw these two together, but they kind of look similar in a way. How is it that to me it seems like Al Roker. You know Al Roker?
Yes, sir.
Seems like he's constantly coming back from some sort of medical procedure and being put on the air with news around it.
Yeah, didn't he get his stomach?
Does he ever work anymore, or just do his job, or is he always making some sort of miraculous comeback?
Always miraculous comeback. Always involving his weight.
Is it only his weight though?
Is it? I don't know. Is he on NBC or ABC?
Why do people care so much his weight? There's a lot of other people out there losing weight, so we're supposed to sit here and celebrate the fact that he lost weight.
Yes. Well, I guess
he was just completely fat and lazy before.
Exactly, and it was all surgery too. He dieted a little bit, got a gastroanemic bypass surgery or something like that. Who knows? But I do agree.
I mean, every single time I see this guy on TV or read a news article about him, and he's so knee deep in the news circle that I don't believe anything I'm reading about him because I'm sure it's all like biased and stuff. But to my understanding, I've never actually seen him do his job and just do it normally. It's always some major build-up, like today on NBC News, like Al Roker will return after a 10-year hiatus from being bedsided for
bedside on the verge of death.
Yes, on the verge of death, and he says we will return today to do the weather, and he will tell you that it's going to rain 10 weeks from now.
Oh yeah, he is a meteorologist, right? He's a meteorologist. Yes. See, that gets a lot. I forgot he was a fucking weather guy.
Yeah, but also about Al Roker, and this is an interesting fact. No one knows the history of this guy. Yeah, no one knows where he's from. No one knows his story. Wow. No one knows his background. Is he from the streets? Or is he from like the University of Princeton?
Princeton, yes. What is his
background? He could be from either.
Or is he a robot?
Is he from a different country? No one knows this guy.
Is he even American? He could be Jamaican. Know. I mean, I don't know.
He's probably so rich.
Yes. Like the richest weatherman.
Like just so push money in your face rich that you can't even you could literally go up to him and you wouldn't be able to speak because he would be putting money in your mouth.
Stuffing it in there.
He'd be like, you don't need to talk because I have money in your mouth.
Wow.
Yeah, and you can't say a word. You wouldn't be able to say a word. Maybe that's why people don't rip on him. Because he's so rich that he puts money in your mouth.
He puts money, yes.
Yeah.
But he's also...
you take that money and you're like, I will obey you.
I will obey. He's fabricating these health issues to give him more clout, to give him more fame. And clearly it's worked.
It has, but like the TikTok era of the younger generations don't know who Al Roker is really.
He's too old for that. He's too old now. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, they're more obsessed with a company that is run and owned by Chinese.
Interesting.
Yeah, right. Going the distance.
The distance. Here we go.
Where will we go? But anyways, co-host.
Final two topics here.
Final two topics here. Was Sarah Silverman ever truly hot?
Ooh.
Just tell me what you think. I need to hear it from you, my co-host, my precious co-host.
Oh, thank you, co-host.
You're welcome.
Sarah Silverman had a stand-up called Jesus is Magic, and that's not the point I want to make, other than that she had great set of knockers, and she, when she was young and married to Jimmy Kimmel, I remember her and
Was
Jimmy.
she married to
Yeah, I
him?
think she was married to Jimmy Kimmel, and then they
I
broke
didn't know
up.
that.
And
I thought they were just dating.
Or maybe they were just dating, but I think either way, he was devastated when they broke up. The young Sarah Silverman was hot, a little bit too out there for me. But
Jimmy Kimmel was never like a looker.
Oh, definitely not.
It's not like you know.
Well, do you think Sarah was? What do you think of Sarah?
I don't know. The reason I'm asking is because I feel like she's based her whole career off of like she wants to have some sexual appeal, and she thinks that people think she's hot, but I don't know if people actually think she's hot.
Yeah,
she's always one of those like girls you look at and you're like she's like yeah, she's kind of hot. Like all right, she's kind of hot. Like you're never just like oh, like she's like so fine.
Yeah, definitely not a babe, but she's
I feel like she wants you to be like that though.
Yeah, she does, but she's also like very self-deprecating, like a lot of these female comedians are, and that kind of takes away. They're not even. That's the thing. They're not sure if they want to be hot or they want to be funny, and they feel like they can't be both. And they're clearly conflicted.
Well, she's in this is the same with Jennifer Coolidge. Jennifer Coolidge and Sarah Silverman both have done Uber Eats commercials in the last year.
Yes.
I feel like once you do an Uber Eats commercial, I'm not saying you're unsuccessful or anything. I'm just saying you've reached a point where it's like you're trying to make up for something in a way, or you just need. I mean, I know it pays. I'm sure it pays well, but it's just like, why are you doing Uber Eats commercials?
Yeah, it's the ultimate. It's the ultimate sellout.
It's such a sellout.
It's such a sellout.
But guess who did an Uber Eats commercial as well? Tracy Morgan. But he's
and Mike Myers,
Mr. Walmart truck crasher himself. Yeah.
Mr. I'm from New York. I'm from Brooklyn.
I'm from Brooklyn.
Yeah, I got a funny face, and I just say Brooklyn over and over.
He fell off ever since that car accident. He really kind of fell off.
He was pretty funny back in the day though. I gotta give a lot of love. So he used to be mad funny.
He was.
But he did fall off because I think a lot of it because he got in a huge crash.
Yes, he almost died.
But he made a ton of money from it.
Oh, was it a Walmart?
Dude, Tracy Morgan apparently made like over $100 million from getting hit by a Walmart truck or something.
Oh, that's what he was in a limo.
I completely just made that number up.
But I
don't know if it was $100 million. He made a ton of money.
He was in a limo, and I think the limo hit the truck.
Something. He got a big payday.
Wow.
And he's like, he like lives in like some mega mansion. He's just so rich, but he still plays that like he comes into like these interviews and talk show hosts, and he's just like.
He's like, I'm from New York. I'm Tracy Morgan.
Yeah, I'm Tracy. Yeah. Pretty good. That was a pretty good accent. We should do an impressions episode.
And like someone will ask him a question, and he never answers the question. He's just like,
I need to eat my rice and beans.
Rice and beans.
And you're just like, what is this dude's deal?
You sound like him. Yeah, you do a good Tracy Morgan.
Yeah. You. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways,
we're gonna end this on this question here. But I just have a question for you, co-host. What is your opinion on fans, players, coaches? Literally everyone screams, "Let's go!"
Oh, let's go!
In sports, it's mainly in sports. I'm referring to. But I feel like this has to be talked about because no one brings it up.
No one brings it up.
But anytime something good happens in sporting events, the camera's on the person, and it's this person going like, "Let's go!"
It's every sport.
Let's go.
It's every.
Can someone come up with something a little more clever or different?
Well, what's funny is that it's literally across both team and individual sports. All sports, men and women's, everything.
There's nothing you can't just. Everyone can't just say the same thing all the time.
They can't. Tennis and golf compared to basketball and football, everyone is saying, "Let's go."
Right. The producer when they like before they cut to a commercial break, if they can get that image on the person just like going to the sideline being like "Let's go," it's gold to them.
It's gold. Yeah.
Oh, and the audience is you know, the viewers at home are just like,
it's
yeah,
funny, 'cause
at least in the commercial.
I've been given
and then it's just like
fist pumps.
Liberty Mutual, like liberty, 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 liberty. We customize your insurance, and then it comes back to the game, and it's like, let's go,
let's go. Yeah, it's so fucking.
And then
corny.
you remember that ad.
You do, yes.
But
it's something about you're right. It's a great question. No one's ever discussed it. It's something about the human psyche that those two words.
Humans. You're so
human
on point.
Spirit. Yeah,
it's very because I feel like these players, people don't really. They don't even contemplate what they have to say let's go.
Yes, let's say let's go.
It's the first thing that comes out of their mind when they like think of how to celebrate somehow.
Yeah. There's
a touchdown. There's a the half court shot made. There's a hole in one. It's just like let's go.
Let's go. Yeah. It's kind of cringy sometimes, and sometimes it gets you going, and sometimes it's cool.
Right. I think at first it could get anyone going. It was genius. It was just like pump up. But now it's so overdone. You can't. Everyone can't just say let's go.
Yeah.
That's my point of asking this question.
Yeah.
You know, and I recently saw Justin Herbert saying it, and that is what prompted me to ask that. Because once Justin Herbert threw a touchdown, and he was just like let's go. I was like, I can't see this anymore. I got it. This has to end.
So when Justin Herbert did it, it wasn't cool because sometimes
once Justin Herbert did it, that was over for me.
Once in a while, when they really slow it down and the person is like really into it, then it's cool. But any other time, if it's half-assed or it's just like seems forced,
I think people are just so like it's they're. I'm done.
All I'm gonna say is that if you're gonna let loose a let's go, you have to have your whole spirit. You have to be slow motion, yelling like you've been possessed by a demon. And then if you're gonna say let's go, then you do it. Otherwise, don't say it.
Like instead, just be like fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Like fuck yeah, bro.
I would kill to see any pro athlete in any sport go fuck. Like let that. When I heard Justin Thomas on the PGA Tour say the ball was heading into the water and he goes, oh fuck, and the cameras caught it and that was awesome.
Yes,
that was awesome.
All right, we've reached our mark here. To all of our listeners, we just want to reiterate the topic of the concept of just wins, and you need to count your wins.
Yes,
we really mean it. I really mean it, and I can't speak for my co-host, but I personally really, the co-host one here, you need to keep track of your successes and your wins, and I promise you it will help you achieve more success in life and build your confidence, and just keep doing that. I'm not saying to like, I think it's also, this could be another topic in the future. I think it's also important to like accept the negative things that happens and, not dwell on them, but also like think about why they happen. Like think about the bad things that are happening and how you can turn them around to positives. But don't forget the wins and make sure that you're building upon them and stacking them up.
Wow. Yes, co-host. I don't have a whole lot to say because you summed it up perfectly.
Yes.
Stack them up.
Thank you, co-host.
Yes.
My brilliant co-host.
Yes, and we'll leave you with that, with the wisdom of the co-host.
We'd like to thank all our listeners. We'll see you for episode 10 next. We don't have an exact date yet, but it'll be out soon. Don't worry.
Don't worry. And we may have a special guest, like he said. We'll see you soon.
We'll see you soon. Take care.